Coming up on the County Line, we'll travel down the campaign trail as we stop by a local rally.
Local residents come together to raise money for the Big Brothers Big Sisters program.
And as always, David Gregg brings us all the updates for the spring season in Titantown sports. We're live.
We're local.
The County Line starts now.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of the County Line. I'm Shayna Marty.
And I'm Nikki Pizar. This year's presidential primary has made it all the way to Pennsylvania, and one candidate is bringing the race to Lawrence County. The County Line's Alex Hine was in Newcastle for a local campaign kickoff.
It's true. I think he is a completely different kind of politician who will be able to increase America's standing in the world because he's willing to listen to people as well as talk to people.
Patty Yerkowitz is just one of a diverse group of people who showed up in Newcastle for the opening of a local campaign office for Barack Obama. The opening was kicked off with a speech from Congresswoman Melissa Bean, a representative from Illinois. She spoke to the crowd about the importance of the election.
When you look at democracy, it works best when you have an engaged and informed electorate. If we're not an active citizenry holding accountable our elected officials to do the things they said they would do to represent us on the issues we care about, then we're abdicating our responsibility as citizens.
After Bean took some questions, Obama staffer Shira Miller organized those interested to help canvass the county for Obama.
There's a nice little manila envelope with a map on the outside that has dots for where each of the houses you're going to hit are. These are all registered Democrats. You're going to hit all of those doors that are listed on your pages here.
Despite Pennsylvania's status as an important election state, many candidates never open an office in Newcastle, leaving much of the county overlooked, which is one reason this opening is making such a splash.
Yeah, I think that's great. It gives people a sense of community, gives them a sense of purpose, makes us feel like there are other people around who think the same way we think.
In Newcastle, I'm Alex Hines for the County Line.
Pennsylvania is one of the deciding states for the Democratic primary race. Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton have yet to visit Lawrence County.
Lawrence County Elections Director Marlene Gabriel believes if either candidate were to visit the area, he or she would win the county votes. Speaking of elections, the Pennsylvania primary is only a couple weeks away, and new voters casting ballots are reminded that they must show proper identification. Voting at a new polling place requires voters to show ID as well. Acceptable identification includes a Pennsylvania driver's license, an American passport, a student or employer ID, or a voter registration card.
Poll workers will have some help on Election Day, with high school students recruited to serve as poll rovers. But before these teens head to the polls to lend a hand, they undergo some Election Day training. The County Line's Amy Gerber takes us to Newcastle to see what goes on for these young people before they report for duty.
With a room full of high school students at 9 a.m. on a weekday morning, you would think that they are at school. Although they are in class, they are not at school. They are learning how to help out at the voting polls. This year at the polls, high school students have been hired as student rovers to help out with those tricky computer problems. Not only do they get out of class, but they also get to watch a little bit of history being made. Marlene Gabriel told me the county decided to start using young students after a law was passed allowing 17-year-olds to help.
We thought, well, gee, that would be a good thing, for the students to come in and learn the process, and it would also help the poll workers, since we got new voting equipment and they're like touchscreen and it's like computers, and we thought like students, now children and kids are all on the computers at all times, and we thought it would be a big help to the poll workers.
The students became very familiar with how the voting process works during their training. Jennifer Marburger is one of the two people who train the students as they all listened attentively.
As many times as possible, make sure you hit confirm. or that vote is lost.
And the students are starting to come today, and we are teaching them all the troubleshooting issues that could go wrong with the machine, things they might encounter throughout the day, any problems, call the office, and so far everybody has done really well. They're interested.
After listening to how it all works, the student rovers tied up the day with some hands-on experience to test what they had learned that day. For the County Line, I'm Amy Gerber.
Lawrence County residents should be aware of a scam reported at various locations across the area. The scam involves receiving a letter in the mail offering employment as well as a substantial check. If deposited, the funds from the check will be sent via MoneyGram to an individual in Canada. After the deposit, the company check is found to be void and money is taken from the victim's personal account. Seniors are especially targeted for this type of scam and should be aware.
In addition to theft charges, 2 local teens must also face their victims. 2 15-year-old boys accused of stealing money and other personal items from Westminster College's Fieldhouse locker rooms must return the stolen items personally. They must also apologize for their actions. New Wilmington Police Chief Carmen Picarillo says he hopes facing the victims will have a bigger impact on the boys to prevent them from any further criminal actions. Both boys face juvenile criminal charges.
The state is ordering 1 Lawrence County township to add sewers or face a fine. One Wayne Township supervisor previously declined to guarantee a state loan of $5.6 million for a sewer system along Squaw Run Road, unless the DEP ordered it. The Pennsylvania Infrastructure Investment Authority requires a township guarantee for the low interest loan before releasing funds for the project. The Board of Supervisors plans to schedule a meeting to guarantee the loan.
Coming up on the County Line, some kids meet up with their big brothers and big sisters for the annual Bowl for Kids' Sake.
And we'll tell you about New Wilmington's plan to go green.
Stay tuned, more County Lines on the way.
Of a spare tire.
Please report to the press box to retrieve your appendage. They must have lost this parking further from the stadium and walking in.
Remember, if there's ever an emergency, we meet here at the bottom of the driveway.
And I'll get the emergency disaster kit out of the kitchen.
Once we're all together, then we'll decide what to do.
But what about Fido?
What about Fido? The Lawrence County Humane Society reminds you to include your pets in your disaster planning. Make sure that your pets have identification tags that include your phone number. To find out more about how to protect your pets in a disaster, contact the Lawrence County Humane Society.
Come on! This way!
Who is that guy?
I don't know! Hurry up! He's right behind us!
I know!
Come on, get up!
407 years ago.
Think history is a little scary? Then log on to loc.gov and see how much fun it can be. The Library of Congress at loc.gov.
What do you got there, Dave?
Looks like someone's thunder thighs.
They must have lost them playing in the snow with their kids. Let's get back to work.
Kids all over the nation are benefiting from the Big Brothers Big Sisters organization. This nonprofit service group held its annual fundraiser in Newcastle this weekend to raise money for all that they do. Big Brothers and Big Sisters alike all came together at the Bowl for Kids' Sake event. Reporter Amanda Conway takes the lanes for the afternoon.
Lawrence County residents kicked off their regular shoes and laced up their bowling shoes this weekend in an effort to raise money for the Lawrence County Big Brother Big Sisters organization.
So tell me a little bit about what's going on here today.
This is Big Brothers Big Sisters of Lawrence County, Bowl for Kids' Sake. It's just a bowling event that raises money for the Lawrence County community, but this is a nationwide event too. Every Big Brothers Big Sisters in each county has this event. It's just a fun way, and it helps the Big Brothers Big Sisters raise money for their everyday operation.
We match kids who are considered at risk of future delinquent behaviors here in Lawrence County with a positive adult mentor. And we're all nonprofit. We don't charge anything for our service, so that's why we're here today, trying to raise some funds for our program.
Bowl for Kids' Sake is held only once a year. But for kids involved in the organization, fun times like this are had every weekend.
I want to have fun and hang with my friends.
Almost every week. We go to the mall, we go to Ollie's. We do a lot of stuff together. It's real fun. I've been in Cray for 3 years. I didn't go to school, so it's better than most placements.
Kids got to take part in Chinese auctions, face paintings, balloon animals, bake sales, and of course, bowling. Reporting in Lawrence County, I'm Amanda Conway for the County Line.
The borough of New Wilmington could be going green. Borough Superintendent Fred Garrett says he's researching how LED technology is now used in the borough's traffic lights and how that kind of energy-saving technology may apply to the nearly $1,500 to run an LED streetlight. But advances in technology could drop that price to as low as $80. The borough's new traffic lights are LED. If the borough agrees to the LED light plan, the town could see new lighting fixtures within the next 3 years.
Wishing upon a star doesn't always make your wish come true, but Alpha Phi Omega is helping to make a wish come true for one special person in the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Reporter Jordan Emma Early tells us more about this wish.
The Westminster College service fraternity Alpha Phi Omega made 1,000 cranes last week in order to help make a wish come true for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Westminster sophomore student and member of Alpha Phi Omega, Kenneth Clinton, says the cranes will be sold all this week for 25 cents each.
The 1,000 cranes, as the ancient legend goes, helps grant a wish.
He demonstrated how they were made, which clearly consisted of just folds. Their goal is to raise $350 to send to the organization. After the money is raised, the Make-A-Wish Foundation informs the service fraternity who a wish is being granted to. Reporting for the County Line, I'm Jordan Emma Early.
Local residents, students, and cancer survivors will be walking in the Westminster's Relay for Life this Saturday. The County Line's Amanda Conway sits down with Relay for Life representative Jim Leslie to learn about this annual event.
Hello and welcome to this evening's edition of County Close-Up. I'm Amanda Conway and I'm here with Jim Leslie from American Cancer Society. Thanks so much for joining us.
Sure, thank you for having me.
We're here to talk a little bit about this weekend's Relay for Life, which will be held at Harold Burry Stadium. Can you tell me a little bit about what's going on this weekend?
Sure. The relay runs this coming Saturday. It starts at 10 in the morning and it will run until 10 at night and close off with fireworks. At noon, there's a lap for survivors, anybody who has been diagnosed with cancer. Luminary will be at dusk, probably about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and we'll light luminaries in honor or in memory of people. And then we'll close off with fireworks.
Okay, now is this Saturday kind of like the traditional day that you guys do for all the Relay for Lives that you plan?
No, traditional Saturday for that actually is in May as our signature weekend, what we call it. But college events we have to do earlier so the students can go home for the summer. So.
Okay. Now tell me a little bit about American Cancer Society and how it got involved with Relay for Life.
The Relay for Life is our signature fundraising event. It started in 1985 with Dr. Gordon Klatt, who is an oncology doctor in the state of Washington. He wanted to do something for his patients. So he decided he would walk for 24 hours and raise some money. He raised $27,000, and since then it has become our signature event, raising over $4 million just in the state of Pennsylvania last year.
Okay, very nice. Now, you said when the first relay was. What can be done this week as going up to Saturday? Can people still get involved if they want?
Oh, sure. Anybody can come down to the track at the stadium. It's a public event. There's some teams that will have some fundraising going on. The Alpha Sig brothers who put on the event will have food available. There's games going on. There's a cakewalk, I believe, at 2 o'clock or sometime mid-afternoon, between 2 and 3. It's just a lot of fun. There's activities the whole time. The radio station's there playing music, so.
Okay, now people join as part of a team. How do they work that in? Does each person from the team walk for a certain amount of time, or do they have to even walk at all, or is it just kind of like the event that you do?
No, we try to have somebody on the track from each team at all times. Most relays are 24 hours long to signify that once you've been diagnosed with cancer, it's with you 24 hours a day. The one here is 12 hours only because there's no lights at the stadium yet. Next year there will be. So it may be 24 hours next year. But we try and have somebody on the track from all times just to signify the support for the cancer patients.
Okay. Now, as far as different community goes, how can they get involved with this if they don't have one in their community?
You can always call the American Cancer Society or go on our website, which is very easy. It's just cancer.org. And you'll get to talk to someone and tell them you want to start a relay in your community. And usually it will happen.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Jim.
Sure, thank you.
Moore County Line is on the way.
Hi everybody, this is Tim McGraw for RAD, recording artists, actors, and athletes against drunk driving. You know, I spend a lot of time on the road and I see some funny things out there, but one thing that's not so funny is someone who's about to drive drunk. So take the keys and be a friend, because friends don't let friends drive drunk.
So nice out here.
Yeah, I used to come out here when I was a kid. Nothing.
No, I definitely heard something.
Look! Who's that?
Let's get out of here! What are you doing? Stop the door!
Okay, okay.
He's trying to act!
He does? I
Think history is a little scary? Then log on to LOC.gov and see how much fun it can be. The Library of Congress at LOC.gov.
Properly inflating my tires burns less fuel and saves me money on gas. Yeah, I'm saving Mother Nature from pollution, but more importantly, she saved me $11. Ow!
Environmental defense. Get green.
By keeping my car regularly tuned, I save money on gas and repairs. That also means cleaner air. You know, feels good to help save the cash, planet.
Environmental defense. Get green. For more tips, go to getgreen.com.
Good evening, Titan fans. I'm David Gregg, and welcome to Titan Town Sports. The softball team was in action Tuesday as they traveled to Geneva to face off against the Golden Tornadoes in doubleheader action. In Game 1, sophomore Addie Parker led the way for the ladies, going 3 for 6 in the series and 2 for 4 in Game 1. However, the Lady Titans would only score 1 run on 6 hits, which would not be enough as they would lose this game 7-1. Game 2 wouldn't go much better for the girls as they would drop this game 8-0, only collecting 4 hits in the game as Geneva's Rebecca Wall earned the shutout win with 4 strikeouts. Both losses bring the girls' record now to 10-7 overall and 1-3 in pack play. The girls' next game is set for Friday as they will hit the road to take on Case Western Reserve. That game scheduled for 3:30. The Titans of the Diamond were also in doubleheader action this week, playing host to St. Vincent. The Titans would dominate Game 1 16-3. The boys would put up 21 hits, with Wommeldorf going 4 for 4 and David Colella going 3 for 5 with 5 ribbies. Game 2 would be a bit of a different story as the boys trailed 7-4 when John Izzo hit a 3-run triple to right field to tie up the game. And then in the bottom of the 10th, with bases juiced, senior Brandon Drespling came through in the clutch with a walk-off single. The boys are now 13-9 overall and 5-1 in pack play. Now, if you could go back and do it all again, would you? That is the question that Steve Reeder answered for himself. Reporter Jordan Emma Early met up with the 44-year-old to find out the reason behind the comeback.
Some people dream about a second chance, to go back and do it all again. But in the case of Steve Reeder, his dream became a reality. At the age of 44, Steve Reeder returned to Westminster College after serving 20 years in the Army for a second chance at his passion.
I've always loved baseball.
Due to his age, Reeder had to go through the process of the NCAA.
As far as eligibility goes, I pretty much just had to do what every other eligible athlete do, and produce some old transcripts from other institutions. And once I went through all that paperwork and got a physical and everything else, I was deemed eligible as far as the NCAA is concerned.
A great asset to the team, Reeder plays many positions.
I'm a catcher, and I'm also an outfielder. But down in Florida during spring training, I played wherever they told me to play. So I pitched a game, I played second base, I played center field, but mostly catch and working in the bullpen. That's where I'm probably the most helpful for the team.
Twice the age of his teammates, it didn't take Reeder long to become a part of the team. If there is one piece of advice Reeder gives to his younger teammates, it's to love the game.
Enjoy it while you can. That's what I'm trying to do.
Reporting for the County Line, I'm Jordan Emma Early.
A little tennis action now from the boys, who picked up their second win on the season and their first in the pack as they defeated Bethany on Sunday 7-2. The Titans took 4 out of 7 matches in singles competition and won all 3 of their matches in doubles. The boys were in action today as well against Waynesburg and will also play tomorrow against Pitt Greensburg. That game beginning at 4 o'clock. And if this isn't enough Titan action for you, don't worry, we have more coming at you this week, including the golf teams who participated today in the Grove City Invitational. And Saturday, the men's and women's track teams will be competing in the Slippery Rock Invitational. And now let's move into extra innings. The Pens were in action last night in their first game of the first round in the playoffs. Gary Roberts would score 2 goals in only his second game back since breaking his leg back in December. And Marc-Andre Fleury would earn his first ever playoff shutout as the Pens would beat Ottawa 4-0 and take a 1-0 lead in the series. The Buccos were also in action last night against the Cubs. The Pirates would lose the game 6-4 in the 15th. DeMadre would pick up the loss for the Buccos, while Bay and LaRoche both hit their first home runs of the year for the Pirates. And finally, the Indians faced off against the Angels. Bird would pick up the loss for the Tribe, bringing his record to 0-2 with an 11.02 ERA on the season. On a positive note, however, Peralta did hit his second home run of the year for the Indians, but it was not enough as the Tribe would fall in this game 9-5. And that will do things for Titantown Sports this week. Stay tuned, more County Line is on the way.
Batteries and flashlight, okay, you know what?
That guy? Look.
Okay, girls, at 3 o'clock.
What is he looking at? They're looking at us. What do you think?
Oh, that's so obvious. Captain Obvious has scored again. Open your window, say something.
Oh, he's really gonna down.
Hi. Hi.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Honey, would you get me some ice cream?
Ice cream?
Please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Some things you just can't do without. It happens every night, all across America.
No one wants to be in debt, but the truth is that most of us are. For 51 years, Consumer Credit Counseling has been in the business of helping people find their way out of debt. The professionals at Consumer Credit Counseling want to help you move on with your life. With their local office in Sharon, it's easy to get started. Visit their website, cccservices.com. That's CCCservices.com. Consumer Credit Counseling, financial help in any crisis. You can control your debt. Consumer Credit Counseling will show you how.
Westminster College baseball coach Carmen Nocera will be honored at the end of the month by becoming one of this year's 14 inductees into the Lawrence County Historical Society Sports Hall of Fame. Nocera spent 10 years as the head of the program. He is humbled by this recognition and hopes that his team will have the same success that he did while he was on the field.
At least 2 million women are physically abused each year, and 2 Westminster College fraternities want to help make people aware of this startling statistic. The Theta Chi and Sigma Phi Epsilon fraternities are inviting everyone to be a part of Take Back the Night 2008. Thousands of marches and rallies for the Back the Night have taken place worldwide. Theta Chi event coordinator Tony Gomez hopes all who participate realize just how serious violence towards women really is.
Well, obviously, I want people to come with a sense of a greater awareness for this type of travesty that happens in daily life. But I also want to raise money for the women's shelter, because to operate on a grand scale like they do, it takes a lot of funding. And just to give to them would be wonderful to do.
The week-long event begins this Sunday. Activities include a women's self-defense clinic and a survivor speak-out. The event will be held next Thursday with the Take Back the Night rally in March at the Westminster College Quad.
Vocational Psychological Services and Lawrence County Head Start program are sponsoring a family carnival to raise awareness about autism. The event is open to the public and includes activities such as music, clowns, crafts, and games. Refreshments, educational material, as well as networking opportunities will be available. The carnival will take place at the Head Start in Newcastle on Saturday from 1 to 4 p.m.
Chelsea Clinton is trying to persuade young voters in order to increase her mother's success. The 22-year-old daughter of the presidential hopeful Hillary will continue the Clinton campaign at Slippery Rock University tomorrow. She is set to attend an event at 10 a.m. at the university before continuing to other areas of the state.
That's all we have for this week. Be sure to join us next week for all your local stories here in Lawrence and Mercer counties.
And as always, David Gregg will have the latest and greatest sports news. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.
Good night.
disturbing. Like, I was sitting there seriously disturbed.
Julie Allison of Star Magazine tells Showbiz Tonight, this is a story that has